I started with these images, but they didn't have to stay that way. With a new feature in Photoshop Beta, you can rotate objects and change their camera angle so you can recreate your shot the way you want it. Here's how it works. Photoshop Beta is always worth checking out because new tools often appear there first before making their way into the full version of Photoshop. For my first example, I'm starting with this image of a woman floating in water. I've added some bath toys to the scene, and I'm going to rotate them so they look more dynamic. Let's start with the duck. With the duck layer selected, I will go to the contextual taskbar, then choose Transform Image, and select Rotate Object. Photoshop analyzes the image, and now I can rotate the object on different axes, or even change the camera angle. Once I like the position, I just press Return or select Done, and Photoshop enhances the lighting and color to the object's new position. One thing to know about this feature, you can't edit the rotated layer afterwards, so it's a good idea to duplicate the object first before rotation. Next, I'll do the same thing with the pink fish, and finally the purple one. And remember, you can still use regular transform tools like resizing or rotating as well. If you want to adjust the rotation later, you can always choose Edit Rotation and edit again. And if the lighting doesn't quite match while you're rotating, don't worry. When Photoshop renders the image, the lighting will adjust automatically. To finish the scene, I'll use Harmonize to match the lighting between the toys and the scene behind. And here's the finished image. Next, let's see how this works on a product shot. I'm starting with this image of lavender on a table, but the camera angle doesn't really work. So I'll select the bottom half of the image, the table and the lavender, then I'll copy it on another layer. And again, I'll choose Transform Image and then Rotate Object. Now I can angle the surface to create a better product perspective. Once that's done, I'll add a background and duplicate the lavender layer to create a reflection. Now for the product itself. I'll add a lotion bottle, but the angle also doesn't match the scene yet. So I'll again select Transform Image, then choose Rotate Object, adjusting the rotation and the angle, and then I'll press Return. After that, I'll use Harmonize to match the lighting. And finally, I'll use Flux 2 Pro to generate a label for the bottle. And here's the finished product shot. For the last example, I'm starting with this astronaut standing on a planet. Again, I'll select the layer, choose Transform Image, and then Rotate Object. And I'm adjusting both the rotation and the camera angle to give the astronaut a more cinematic look. Once I press Return, Photoshop renders the image. Notice how it renders his helmet and the reflection to match the angle. Perfect. And just like before, I finished with Harmonize to help blend the subject and the background together. And here's the final image. A few quick tips when using Rotate Object. Duplicate your object first so you can keep the original layer handy. You can combine Rotate Object with the regular transform controls to have more options. Use Edit Rotation if you want to refine the angle. And finishing with Harmonize is a great way to match the lighting in the scene. If you want to learn more about the Harmonize tool in the regular version of Photoshop, I'll add the link here. See you in the next one.